So, The Hunt for Ben Solo. We've got some more information on this. This is a cancelled Star Wars story that basically was about to get greenlit, as in, like, it was ready to go. And then they just rug pulled it. The response online has been interesting. It seems to be like the hill people are dying on for some unbeknownst reason. When it comes to Star Wars, people are like, no, this definitely should have been made. I don't really understand why. It doesn't sound great. More power to you if you love it, I guess. But anyway, I thought we'd take a look. The reasons by which... Well, the reasons for them cancelling it is dumb, which we'll get to. But that's Disney and Lucasfilm through and through, really, isn't it? So, you know, just dumb. They are just dumb. So, anyway. Bit of background. Earlier in the week, Kylo Ren actor Adam Driver made headlines because he confirmed and revealed that there was a movie where he was going to reprise his role as Kylo Ren. Okay, now that was a movie that was going to be directed by Steven Soderbergh until Disney pulled the plug. So the project was going to focus on the hunt for Ben Solo. Obviously, he was killed at the ending of The Rise of Skywalker. And after first rejecting the dark side of the Force and helping Rey to defeat the resurrected, cloned, whatever, Emperor Palpatine. So this is what he said previously. And then we'll get to the updates and then the fan reaction. We presented the script to Lucasfilm. They loved the idea. They totally understood our angle and why we were doing it. It was called The Hunt for Ben Solo. And it was really cool. We took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman. And they said no. They didn't see how Ben Solo was alive. And that was that. Now, more information has come out. So the playlist has now shared some very interesting updates. Sounds like this project came a lot closer to entering production. Not only did The Hunt for Ben Solo have a finished script, but the full stamp of approval from Lucasfilm, including Kathleen Kennedy, and it was greenlit internally. It was then cancelled by Disney executives Bob Iger and Alan Bergman. So here's what they say. Direct quote. Sources close to the project emphasise that this was not a loose concept or early pitch. The film, operating under the codename Quiet Leaves, had a finalised screenplay and was entering early prep and staffing stages. Disney purchased a fully developed treatment and beat sheet developed by Soderbergh and screenwriter Rebecca Blunt, who goes under the pseudonym for Jules Asner. Well, that is Jules Asner. That's Soderbergh's wife, sorry. Who also wrote Logan Lucky and hired Scott Z. Burns, who was paid more than any screenwriter in Lucasfilm's history to complete the screenplay. Just throwing money up a wall. Burns' connection to Star Wars goes back further than most realise. The playlist previously reported in 2016 that the Contagion screenwriter was one of the uncredited writers on Rogue One before Tony Gilroy came aboard to take over and complete that film. According to insiders, Kathleen Kennedy, Dave Filoni and Carrie Beck were directly involved throughout the development and were reportedly enthusiastic about the draft that came in. Kennedy and the Star Wars Story Group waited until the project was ready to shoot before they presented it to Disney. And when the final script, budget and proposed start date were delivered to Disney, it marked the first time Lucasfilm had ever presented a fully approved project that did not move forward. Now, I think that's interesting because what that reveals is actually what they don't say, is that everything that hasn't moved forward that they've announced actually isn't a fully approved project. So they're also saying the quiet part, well, it's a statement by omission. If this is the first ever fully approved project that did not move forward, by definition, everything that hasn't moved forward that they have announced was never fully approved. So they've literally stood up on stage, announced loads of projects that were never fully approved because they've never moved forward. You thought about that? It's an interesting one. Now, Soderbergh has actually confirmed all of this on Blue Sky. Bergman is said to have taken an unusually long time to read the script, and once he did, the primary concern was indeed believed to be Solo returning following the events of The Rise of Skywalker. This was said to have surprised the higher-ups at Lucasfilm, since it was generally felt that the story's logic was clear and creatively sound. So basically, they were confused with how a person could come back from the dead from a movie where he was killed by someone that came back from the dead. Let that sink in. Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, was killed in a movie by someone that had came back from the dead, and the Disney executives were confused with how he could come back from the dead. We are dealing with brainlets. I don't think this would have been good anyway, but it is important to point out how monumentally retarded these people are. Dumbass. So as for the speculation that Driver spilled the beans in an attempt to pressure Disney into revisiting the project, the playlist believes that the actor is simply choosing to discuss the details since he's no longer bound by NDAs or any contractual restrictions. I don't think he cares, to be honest. So the playlist also weighed in on a separate report that David Fincher pitched a new Star Wars movie to Lucasfilm after The Rise of Skywalker was released. And according to the site, this is not accurate, as Fincher actually made with the studio years earlier to gauge interest in a project. The filmmaker is still said to have a loose idea for a story set between episodes 8 and 9 of the Skywalker saga, which never progressed beyond the initial concept and failed to gain traction with Lucasfilm. But people are dying on this hill. Like, fans are flying this crap. Save the hunt for Ben Solo. Why are you doing this? Man. So sad. What a weird hill to die on. Why is this? Why is this the thing that you're going to be... I don't get it. So according to Collider, which had a reporter on site for the stunt, the banner circled the studio's lot. This is all flown over Lucasfilm. And nearby areas on Tuesday afternoon, drawing plenty of attention, both from employees on the ground and fans online. Photos of the banner quickly went viral, marking one of the most visible fan protests against Disney's handling of Star Wars in years. It's mad that this is the thing people care about, isn't it? But then there was loads of, like, Reylos, weren't there? So maybe that's why, because they wanted Reylo to happen. Kylo Ren and Rey getting it on, they wanted that to happen. Maybe it's the Reylos are back. Oh, you guys are so sad. Bizarre. Anyway, and as they say in this article, the latest protest isn't exactly the kind of movement most people expected. For years, Kylo Ren has ranked among the least popular characters in the Disney sequel trilogy. A villain many fans viewed as the face of everything that went wrong with the modern Star Wars era. His brooding arc and abrupt redemption never resonated the way the studio hoped, leaving audiences divided and disillusioned. Yeah, but did you think of the Reylos? Don't think you did. The Reylos are back. Well, anyway, there you go. So, like I said, the actual take-home from this report by the playlist is everything Kathleen Kennedy has announced that has not moved forward was never fully approved. They were announcing it to drum up interest, more than likely. They were announcing it to boost stock, more than likely, which I've long suspected and have said many times. So, fascinating, and that's actually the story here. Not Ben Solo, like that's, who cares? The real story is Kathleen Kennedy just pissing in the wind and seeing what, stains her underwear, I guess. Oh, that one sticks. We'll do that one. That one's gained traction. We'll do that one. Half of them don't. And they're never fully approved. So that's the real story here. Interesting though, isn't it?